This is one of those games that feels like it's been almost real for years. And now that it's finally here, the question isn't just if it's good, it's whether it was worth the wait. So yeah, Pragmata, April 17th, 2026, Capcom. And honestly, this is exactly the kind of game I personally get drawn to. That weird mix of sci-fi, mystery, and something that doesn't fully explain itself right away. The kind of game you don't just play, you kind of sit with it, think about it, try to piece it together. But that also means it's the kind of game that can either pull you in completely or lose you halfway through. So here's what you actually need to know before buying it. At its core, Pragmata is built around a really simple idea that gets more interesting the more you think about it. You're not alone, and you're not really in control in the usual way. You play as Hugh, but a lot of what you do depends on Diana, this android girl who's not just part of the story, she's part of the gameplay itself. And that's where things immediately stand out. Because instead of just shooting your way through everything, you're constantly switching between controlling Hugh and using Diana to interact with the environment, hack systems, open paths, and basically make survival possible. It's almost like you're playing two characters at once, just not in the obvious way. And honestly, I like this. It feels different without trying too hard to be different. It gives the gameplay a bit more thought behind it, instead of just aim, shoot, move on. But at the same time, that kind of system lives or dies on execution. If the switching feels smooth, if the puzzles are well designed, if it all flows naturally, this could be one of those systems people remember for a long time. If it doesn't, it could feel clunky really fast. And that's kind of the theme with this whole game. There's a lot of potential, but also a lot that needs to go right. Now visually, this is exactly what you'd expect from Capcom when they go all in on atmosphere. The whole setting, this near-future, almost empty lunar station environment, it looks clean, but in a way that feels off. Like everything is too quiet, too controlled, like something already went wrong and you're just walking through what's left of it. And that's something I personally enjoy a lot. That slow, uneasy feeling where the game doesn't scream at you, it just kind of sits there and lets you notice things on your own. But again, that's not for everyone. If you're expecting constant action, constant movement, constant stimulation, this might feel slow. Because Pragmata looks like it's more about pacing than intensity. Now the combat, from what we've seen, is not the main focus, but it's definitely there. You're dealing with robotic enemies, using a mix of shooting and hacking mechanics to actually make them vulnerable, before you can take them down. And that's a cool idea, because it turns every encounter into a small problem to solve, instead of just a reflex test. But let's be honest, that can also slow things down. If every fight requires setup, timing, switching between characters, some players are going to love that, others are going to feel like it breaks the flow. And flow is important in a game like this. Another thing worth mentioning is the story. Capcom hasn't exactly laid everything out clearly, and that seems intentional. There's a lot of mystery around what's actually happening, why the world looks the way it does, what Diana really is, and how everything connects. And again, I like that. I like games that trust you to figure things out, instead of explaining everything up front. But there's always a risk there, because mystery can turn into confusion if it's not handled well. If the story doesn't pay off, or if it feels too vague for too long, that initial intrigue can wear off. Now let's talk about expectations, because this is important. This is a Capcom game, which means people are expecting a certain level of polish, quality, and consistency. But this isn't Resident Evil. It's not Devil May Cry. It's not one of their established formulas. It's something different. And whenever a studio steps outside its usual comfort zone, there's always that uncertainty. It might surprise everyone in a good way, or it might feel like it didn't fully come together. And that's really what you need to keep in mind here. So if we break it down simply, You should consider buying Pragmata if you enjoy slower, more thoughtful games, if you like sci-fi stories that don't hand everything to you, and if you're interested in that dual-character gameplay system. Especially if you're like me and you enjoy just sitting with a game and letting it unfold. But you might want to wait if you prefer fast-paced action, if you don't like switching between mechanics mid-combat, or if you're worried about how well all these systems actually come together. Because this feels like one of those games where everything depends on how smooth the experience is moment to moment. And that's not something you can fully judge until you actually see it in motion. So from here, I'm stepping back. No talking, no over-explaining, just gameplay. Watch how it moves, how it flows, how natural or unnatural it feels. Because with a game like Pragmata, that's what's going to tell you everything you need to know.
Strategy and action that makes you think on your feet and manage the space around you. Incredibly intuitive and deeply rewarding when executed correctly. And we've just got time to mention the world, an extraordinary 3D printed lunar landscape controlled by a nefarious AI, crammed with twisted lunar filament creations, varied enemies and surprising secrets. Get to grips with Pragmata by playing the...
Now maybe we can upgrade our stuff.
Worth a shot. We gotta get going.
Ready when you are. Starting hat. Crap. Jump Q.
This frickin' thing is tough as hell.
We can use this to hit harder and beat things faster. We did it! Something's aiming at us. Leave it to me. I got him.
Not bad. Leave the shooting to me. That was easy. Guess it's my turn.
Missile spotted. Right back at ya.
Good job, kid. Now it's my turn.
Move, Hugh.
Get some!
Hacking.
You're going down.
Look out.
Take that!
Hugh.
Right on. How you like this?